5 restaurants on the rock, St. John's, Newfoundland, are competing for my $1 million review.
Good God, you've only just killed it.
From upscale to affordable, all of them are contenders.
Blimey, everything all right there?
But only one will win.
Mwah! Get away from me. You getting that smell? That smell of sort of barnyard? Oh, that's coming back at me.
Whose dreams will come true?
Don't you want to be a Newfoundlander?
It's salty as hell.
And whose will be smashed to pieces?
That oyster was a little bit warm, a little bit dead. Where's my dinner? Is it your fault?
I'm Giles Coren. As restaurant critic for the London Times, I've become the most powerful critic in Europe. Restaurant owners fear me because a bad review from me could shut them down. But a good one could bump up their profits by $1 million. With my researcher, Julia, I'm in North America looking for restaurants worthy of my review, which could change their business and lives forever. This week I'm in St. John's, Newfoundland, a city on an island off the northeast coast of Canada. Technically, it's part of North America, but it really does feel like another planet.
St. John's is famous for its steep streets, its jelly bean houses, its wild and crazy but incredibly friendly locals, and the insane changeability of its weather. So if the food is anything like that, I'm going to have a whale of a time.
Thanks to Newfoundland's booming economy, eating out in St. John's has really taken off over the past few years. I'm here to find out if the restaurants are actually any good. I've dragged myself to a frozen rock in the Atlantic Ocean, so the food had better be worth the trip. So what exactly am I looking for? Most boring, pompous food critics will tell you that there are 3 things that matter: food, atmosphere, and service. But my readers deserve much more than that. I'm looking for an exceptional eating experience, and I don't care if it's the most expensive restaurant in town or a hole in the wall serving up one incredible dish. But I can't eat everywhere. So my researcher, Julia, has narrowed down the city's food scene to 5 restaurants that are doing amazing things. Then I decide which one deserves my $1 million review. Apparently, a hurricane-level snowstorm is due to hit Newfoundland tonight. They're already calling it the storm of the century, so Julia's brought me to a place called Signal Hill for my first and potentially last look at St. John's. I'm hoping I can get to at least one restaurant in this historic city before it's wiped off the face of the earth.
This is Newfoundland. This is the cruelest place on earth. Did you know that?
The coolest place on earth?
Cruelest.
Cruelest, in what sense?
This is where they would tar and feather all their prisoners and let them stand up here to die.
Nice coating of tar and feathers will keep me extremely warm. Can we go? OK, so what's my first restaurant?
All right, your first restaurant is called Saltwater, and it's in downtown St. John's on Duckworth Street. It's owned by local chef Adam and his buddy Serge, who emigrated from Serbia and quickly fell in love with Newfoundland culture.
You're more about tradition than I am.
I am more about Newfoundland tradition than my own culture.
Saltwater's menu offers a mix of Newfoundland and Serbian cuisines. But while Adam is a trained chef, Serge is not.
First thing he asked me, he's like, I want to be a cook. Give me 2 months.
No, not 2 months, 2 weeks.
Oh, sorry.
Basically, I wanted to just become chef in 2 weeks' time. Tops.
The Serbian-Newfoundland combination is working well, but Adam and Serge really need your international review to bring in more customers from outside of Newfoundland.
We need this to be successful. We need it. We get a lot of our business from travelers, people passing through. A review from Giles would really help with the view of the restaurant. I mean, people abroad will be able to see us. We need this kind of exposure.
Thinking about failing is
not an option, eh?
Not an option.
With the blizzard of the century rolling in, I'm hoping this meal at Saltwater won't be my last. But if it is, this Serbian beginner chef better not mess it up.
Thanks very much.
Inside, people are certainly celebrating as if the world ends tomorrow.
It's like some kind of Italian La Familia with that kind of big Mediterranean hospitality thing. But they're living in a place on the edge of the world with the biggest storm in the history of humanity blowing in.
Hello, Giles.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm excellent.
Very nice to meet you. Welcome to our house.
Thank you so much.
We want you to feel just like at home.
Yeah, a big hairy man always comes out and kisses me before dinner. That's how it is.
Yeah.
But that's just the first part in this Serbian welcoming ritual.
Are we going to have a drink already?
Yeah, absolutely.
Shall I stand?
Yes, you have to stand. We have to pour it 3 times. We do everything 3 times.
Tell me, how many children have you got? 3?
3. Everything is in 3.
What do we say?
Živeli.
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 Živeli. Živeli. Živeli.
It's easy to get carried away with authentic Serbian hospitality. I don't normally drink on an empty stomach, but this Serbian madman has a way of making bad ideas sound very good.
Serge, come over here.
So naturally, I put myself entirely in his control and let him decide what I'm going to eat.
Can you do anything completely Serbian?
Yes, don't even order.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just...
But is it going to be Serbian?
It's gonna be Serbian.
3 drinks before I'd even been, here for a minute. That's hot stuff. I'm already slurring my words and I haven't started the meal yet.
So Serge, ever the attentive host, sends me some bread to soak up the booze.
Toutons, which is fried dough.
Towns?
Toutons.
Toutons?
Toutons. Normally it's a breakfast dish, but
But you thought
we
you'd
made
just
exceptions
mess
for
with
you.
my head.
Yeah.
Once again, this bonkers Balkans bon vivant is forcing me to break one of my die-hard restaurant rules.
I normally don't eat bread before a meal.
Don't fill up with bread, unless you need to soak up 3 giant shots of brandy.
Oh, that's amazing. That's just good. That's freshly baked with butter and molasses. I arrived for dinner. I've gone straight to breakfast. You want some?
The Toutons are quite a treat, but I do find one problem.
Hey, Serge, this molasses is killing my wine.
It's killing your wine?
Yeah.
Well, let's leave the wine for French and Italians, and we're gonna drink something more proper.
You're talking my language? Bring it on. I've had some bread now, so I can do some proper drinking. Zdravje.
Na zdravlje.
Now get back in the kitchen, cook my dinner.
I'm gonna go cook your dinner.
Only now is it dawning on me that Serge is going to be cooking my dinner with huge quantities of booze coursing through his veins.
Look at this, it's a good scene. The storm's coming in, people have gathered in.
But so far, this place has been all about the booze. Not that I'm complaining.
Substantial there. Try some of this pistol. Now that's Serbia
Baked
right
beans
there.
and ham.
We're getting white beans, some salt beef. Perfect thing for a day like today.
Very, very, very salty piece of meat. Cooked in the beans, lots of the fat has rendered down into the beans. It's a real rib sticker. If I'd eaten this before I started drinking, I could probably have drunk a bottle of that stuff without getting drunk. What's going to happen when it goes down on top of it, I can't possibly say.
So far, Serge's food has been the perfect companion to all the brandy he keeps giving me. But my next course is proof that you should never, ever let a drunk man pick your dinner, regardless of how charming he might be. This shellfish concoction is the stuff of nightmares and has got me wondering if there is any method at all to this Serbian party boy's madness.
It's full of shellfish. Lobster claw, shrimp. I've got 2 oysters here. The one rule with oysters is do not eat them when you've been drinking spirits. So let's see what happens, eh? That oyster was a little bit warm, a little bit room temperature, a little bit dead, and I've got spirits inside me. The 2 things together can make you very, very ill.
This could get messy. This week, I'm in St. John's, Newfoundland, and tonight I'm taking shelter from the storm of the century at the Adriatic-Atlantic fusion restaurant, Saltwater.
Živeli.
Živeli.
The atmosphere is terrific, but the charming Serbian owner, Serge, has prompted me to break a cardinal rule by serving me 3 massive shots of brandy on an empty stomach.
I'm getting double vision.
Luckily, I was able to soak up some of the booze with an authentic Serbian dish.
It's a real rib sticker. If I'd eaten this before I started drinking, I could probably have drunk a bottle of that stuff without getting drunk. What's going to happen when it goes down on top of it?
Now I'm being confronted by a baffling seafood cocktail.
That oyster was a little bit warm, a little bit room temperature, a little bit dead, and I've got spirits inside me. The 2 things together can make you very, very ill. At least that's going to be my excuse in the morning.
Fortunately, however, my bizarre seafood concoction stays in my stomach, for now. At this point, I've had way too much to drink. Even Serge thinks I need a break from the brandy.
Giles, I got your main course ready. I hope you
What happened
enjoyed.
to the talking and the hugging and the kissing and the drink?
Let's not do that right now. We have all night long to do
Okay,
that.
fine. So I'll sit down and we'll...
Sit down, have a meal. Tell me what you think about it.
That right there is the halibut.
Oh, the halibut.
Yes,
sorry.
and that has a roasted red pepper, eggplant topping. That's some lamb there, grilled vegetables, a nice balsamic and nice olive oil, just as Serge recommended.
That is good. Asparagus. I mean, where in the world could that have come from? I mean, they literally doesn't grow any time of year in Newfoundland, and certainly not now. But this is all tasting delicious. The danger, of course, is that this place may win purely because I'm slaughtered. This has definitely been one of the sloppier nights in my career, so it's fitting that it ends the way it began, with drinking.
Oh. 3 times.
Get away from me, you filthy Serbian man.
Yeah, it was amazing.
great.
What
We
a
just-
night we had here at Saltwater.
I hope we gave him a time.
Great
Seemed like
time.
he enjoyed the buzz of the room, he enjoyed the people, he enjoyed the food. I'd love to know what he thinks, that's for sure.
I don't know. Mediterranean, Serbian, Newfoundland fusion. The cooking was okay, but wow, what a welcome. The booze, the partying, the scene. What a place to weather out the worst storm in history.
The worst storm in history turned out to be just another little St. John's snowstorm. But I ended up with the worst hangover in history and didn't emerge from my next meal until the following night.
So where exactly am I taking you?
We're going to a place called Chinched. Do you know what Chinched means?
It's Newfoundland slang for something
Yeah, they used
filthy,
to
isn't it?
stuff log cabins with this stuffing, and they'd call it chinching. So the point is to get you chinched.
You're going to stoke me up like a boiler.
We're gonna get you fat like a piggy.
Chinched is a tiny 2-story bistro located on Queen Street in St. John's. Husband and wife Sean Hussey and Michelle LeBlanc are the owners and chefs. Their food is a carnivore's dream. It's a meat-heavy menu that focuses on made-from-scratch charcuterie.
So people are not coming here for chicken. They're coming here for things they can't make at their own home.
It's a pretty specialized menu, and because of it, the buzz on Chinched has been slow to spread.
We don't appeal to everybody, so it's getting the message to the right market. That's probably the biggest challenge. You know, we've been here 4 years almost, and we still have people who come in for dinner that had no idea that we were here.
Sean and Michelle need your review to get the word out about Chinched so they can pack the few seats they have and move somewhere bigger.
Our next move here is expansion of this place. The more seats, more money, more staff, the better product you can offer. And I think that a review from Giles would definitely push us into that direction.
For the first time ever, I'm taking my researcher, Julia, with me on a review. I'm hoping to teach her a thing or two about reviewing food. And Chinched is a sharing sort of restaurant, so it's nice to have her along.
What do you want to eat?
Artisanal cheese.
I just see the phrase art is anal.
Popcorn chicken livers looks good.
Is that a thing to do to a chicken liver? Is that respectful?
It's so different that I'd be interested in trying it.
And while I'm tempted by dishes like the locally called octopus and the potato-wrapped cod, I have inside information and go off-menu.
I've heard that you have pig's trotters.
We absolutely do.
Pig's trotters, where the whole foot of the pig is served up on a plate. One of my favourite dishes.
Trotters.
Marvelous.
On a scale of 1 to marvellous. How are they?
They're marvelous.
Are they?
Yes.
In the end, Julia and I decide on 2 dishes to share.
The charcuterie.
That's what we're known for.
The charcuterie board they're apparently famous for, and the off-menu pig trotters.
Is that enough?
And if not, we can always bring the menus back and you can order more.
Well, apparently the kitchen believes we didn't order enough food, because a dish we didn't ask for is delivered to our table.
This is a little something from the kitchen.
And to make it worse, it's the most boring dish on earth. Soup. I hate it when they do this. If I want something, I'll order it. Don't surprise me with soup. Ever.
This is a butternut squash. It's garnished with a salt meat fritter, and there's a bacon crema.
But at least this soup sticks with the porcine theme.
The white stuff?
Yes. Yep.
Bacon crema.
Bacon crema.
Cream of bacon.
Cream of bacon.
As a critic, this happens to me all the time. Chefs think it's impressive to send out loads of stuff I haven't ordered, but it isn't.
I hate soup. Do you like soup?
Yes.
Finally, we get some food we actually ordered.
Wow, look at that, baby.
House-made
beautiful.
charcuterie platter. The pastrami here, smoked duck breast, pork carpaccio, moose heart, cured foie gras.
Moose heart.
Everybody stop.
I've been banging on to Julia about moose. I don't even really believe they exist. Where I come from, they're in the same category as unicorns and yetis and other mythical creatures.
So mooses do have hearts?
Of course,
I
they're
heard
very
they
large.
didn't. I heard they didn't
It
have
works out
hearts.
well.
I've never seen a moose.
Trust me, if you see one, you'll know.
Really? They're big. I've never seen this animal, and now I'm going to eat its heart.
And then you're going to eat all of its other bits because this is a dry-cured moose sausage.
Moose twice.
Moose twice sounds nice, but it will take more than that to earn my $1 million review. And it's the entire charcuterie platter I'll be judging.
This air-dried moose sausage is very good.
This one's nice.
Have you ever had moose's heart before? And you feel this huge organ pumping the blood around to those massive antlers. That's really good.
Moose is hands down the most delicious mythical creature I've ever eaten. But the house-cured prosciutto isn't quite as successful.
It's not very subtle. They're not as good as the greatest Italian ones.
And the chef has added imported foie gras to his supposedly local platter.
I think it's a shame that they've gone and got foie gras from the south of France because foie gras is a bit cruel. Some people don't like it. This is a local story.
Which means Chinched Bistro's chances of winning my $1 million review rest entirely on their pig feet.
Oh, wow.
Good God, you've only just killed it.
I've been dining at the pig-themed Chinched Bistro in St. John's, Newfoundland. The chef made a classic blunder by sending me a tedious soup I hadn't ordered.
I hate soup.
The charcuterie plate featured 2 excellent bites, moose heart and moose sausage,
The moose heart was delicious.
but failed to deliver on its all-local promise.
I think it's a shame that they've gone and got foie gras from the south of France.
But the game isn't over for Chinched, as our main course is loaded with potential: roasted pig's trotters.
Good God, you've only just killed it.
If these pig feet tickle my fancy, then Chinched could easily be back in the running for my review. But the presentation begs a question or two.
I feel a certain amount of sadness for the pig.
Do you actually?
Yeah, and I'm a carnivore, and I believe that pigs were put here for us to eat. But I think bringing it stabbed between the toes like that is a little bit sad, a little bit aggressive.
In principle, you don't want to garnish a meat dish with the same tool that was used to kill the animal.
Let's chow in.
Well, what do you think of it?
OK, I think it's overdone. If you look there, that is cartilage, which is normally very, very firm, cartilage and skin. They've overdone it. It's dried out, after the fat has run out. That's a little bit spongy. The really good stuff with a pig is the actual foot. Now, if you pull it apart like that, you can take a toe each, and then you just want to suck all the skin and fat off the toes. And that's really gelatinous. That's the kind of stuff that dogs really dig. You're getting that smell? That smell of sort of barnyard, manure. That's the kind of thing, if you're a trottophile, that's what you're looking for. And you're left with these little toe bones, very much like a human toe bone. This is the meat that tastes most like you do. You wiggle your toe, and that's the thing, carrying the message from the brain
you eat that?
to the... Oh, no. I eat everything. Basically, this is what humans are made of. You're eating the building blocks. And you're doing very well, I don't mind telling you. Those are good toes.
A review from Giles would definitely help us move forward with the restaurant and be that much more successful.
So, I mean, a very nice meal, a very charming meal. I think they're trying too hard. I think they're so desperate, as they say, to make people happy. They love it so much that they're really pushing the boundaries a little bit further than such a small place can necessarily bear. They're right, they do need bigger premises.
Two restaurants down, 3 more to go. And now that I've eaten moose, I feel like a native Newfoundlander. But apparently, there's a ceremony that everyone needs to go through to become a true local. It's called Screeching In, and I've heard that nobody performs it quite like Linda at the Inn of Old.
So I'm the queen of all screech-ins, and I'd love to do ya.
Oh, would you indeed?
Yes, I would.
Step 1, don the hat.
You look nice, and Linda's hat is absolutely magnificent, so understated.
Step 2, read the spoon.
Use this spoon for really stunned mainlanders. Smack them as required.
OK, you're forewarned, OK, because you got dark like me.
I see.
Step 3, eat the capelin.
The head of this thing, bite it off and chew it and eat it.
I can eat 28.
How old is this fish?
It's about 2 or 3 years old, probably, but it's smoked.
Oh, smoked.
If I don't make it, please tell my wife and kids I love them.
1,
Yes.
2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Salty, so you can drink more beer.
Salty as hell.
Yes, put it in your mouth and chew it up. Yes.
That was a fin, I think.
Step 4, talk like an islander.
Does you want to be a Newfoundlander?
Yes, I dug me old cock.
The worst thing you can have in your throat
The worst thing you can have in your
The worst
throat.
thing you can have in your throat.
is a swollen bone bite.
It's a swollen bone bite.
Swallow it.
Swallow it.
It means if you can't say anything good about your neighbour, don't say nothing at all.
That wouldn't work in my line of work.
No.
Hey, careful.
Long may your big jib draw.
Long may your big jib draw.
Don't drink it yet.
Step 5, kiss the bird's bottom.
I cracked off his legs so they won't stick up your nose, OK?
Oh, how thoughtful. I didn't get where I am without kissing a bit of arse.
Step 6, shoot the screech and give a whoop.
Yoo-hoo!
Yoo-hoo!
Bless your heart.
What nice soft lips you have.
My ducky. God love you. Welcome to Newfoundland.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is basically like a passport around here.
Yes, that's it.
Bizarrely, all that screeching in has got me hungry for lunch, so Julia is packing me off to my next restaurant.
Raymond's is located in the middle of town on historic Water Street, and it is easily the most critically acclaimed restaurant in St. John's.
It's a restaurant that celebrates Newfoundland cuisine and Newfoundland foraged ingredients.
Its owners are Chef Jeremy Charles and Jeremy Bonilla. They've received numerous national awards, and Raymond's has been called one of Canada's best restaurants. Not surprisingly, it isn't cheap, but the Jeremys say their food is worth every penny.
What you're paying for is the amount of labor that goes into all these dishes. I mean, these are handcrafted. It costs to do that.
So with all that recognition, why do they care about your review? They need it to put them in the big leagues. They want to compete with the best restaurants on the planet.
You just gotta keep evolving. You have to keep getting better. It's a constant process. Why shouldn't there be a great restaurant in this town?
What's the kind of most local and surprising kind of thing I could be eating?
I think to do that, we always recommend, like, if it's your first time eating here, tasting menu is kind of the way to go.
A tasting menu. It's my least favorite way to experience a restaurant.
It's not a surprise tasting menu.
It kind of is. It's chef's choice.
I have no desire to sit by myself in this quiet room for 3 hours, shoveling down 7 courses of who knows what.
Can you do it in an hour?
We'll try it. Let's do it. We'll do it in an hour.
Your time starts now. That's already 10 seconds. This is going to be fun.
Never accept a challenge from me. I'm ridiculously competitive. Luckily, the kitchen gets off to a good start and delivers the first course within minutes.
This is all seafood. This is a surf clam, and it has lardo and fresh herbs.
Lardo.
In the center, it's a crispy cod sound with Canadian caviar. On a skewer here, we have some charred whelk with scallop XOs, and then we have a little brioche with a snow crab salad and aioli.
This looks very, very modern. What we call the Nordic kitchen, a school of cooking which forages, which shows the best provenance that you can in the Northern Hemisphere. It's about winter. It's about what the earth and the sea can provide at this time of year. OK, so that's my surf clam, perhaps in lardo. Here we've got Canadian caviar. It's the taste of the sea. There's a hint of salt from the caviar, but not too much. And then it's like ozone. It's the sort of metallic flavors of the seaside, of total freshness. Amazing.
So now I've got my charred whelk.
Kebabbed on a twig. Very, very sweet after the salty caviar. That's amazing. Thin brioche cylinder stuffed with well, it's snow crab.
The food is good, but the clock is ticking away towards the 1 hour time limit I've set on this multi-course meal. And 20 minutes in, I'm only just receiving my second course of who knows how many.
Another amazing assortment of things, 3 different kinds. They've gone stone, wood, metal. I mean, that which is just classy. The food that best shows off the crockery and vice versa. So moose sausage. Amazing. Blood pancake.
So that's a pancake they've made using blood instead of water with a foie gras mousse. So that was quite cakey. It had the taste of a digestive biscuit. And now the mousse lichen. Oh. And it just sort of tastes slightly bitter, slightly wrong, but also slightly right, and just cleans your palate of all these meatier flavours. You know, the only thing that could possibly go wrong is that they keep me here too long. And at this point, that's a real possibility. I'm only midway through my tasting menu, and there's less than 15 minutes remaining before the end of the 1-hour time limit I set. If Raymond's doesn't start moving more quickly, they'll lose their shot at my $1 million review.
Where's my dinner?
This week, I'm in St. John's, Newfoundland, at the easternmost edge of North America, and today I'm lunching at Raymond's. They wanted me to try their tasting menu, something I don't normally do, so I challenged them to get it to me within 1 hour.
Let's do it. We'll do it in an hour.
Your time starts now.
The food has been exquisite, but now I'm being kept waiting.
Where's my dinner? Is it your fault?
This is your dinner. Beautiful partridge here.
Oh. How did you kill him? Did you break his neck or was he shot?
Yeah, he was shot.
It's the one I'm going to eat?
Yeah, this is for you. So we're...
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that quick to turn it around? You pluck it?
We pluck it. I just carve it up there off the bone, and we'll roast it on the grill and be ready to go for you.
Wow.
So it doesn't get much more fresh than that.
If I had to serve 7 courses to an impatient restaurant critic in an hour, I wouldn't want any of them to involve an unplucked bird.
Thank you very much.
By the time my 3rd course arrives, there's less than 5 minutes to go before the hour's up.
It tastes like a normal beef ragout. It's a very slight aftertaste of distant Arctic loneliness.
At some point during that 3rd course, my tasting menu time limit expired.
They've busted way out of the time frame. They're going downhill all the way. I mean, the Coren challenge has killed them.
Finally, the long-awaited partridge lands on my table.
It looks a bit like pigeon. Very, very red meat. So this tastes very, very wild. There's only a partridge, but it's challenging and bloody. It's like liver, it tastes like offal. This bird is basically one flying organ.
And it's a bird that may have cost Raymond's my $1 million review.
It might have been a little premature in me saying an hour, but, you know, hopefully it all works out in the end. I think you had a good time.
Hopefully.
Well, I've got to say, that is one of the most exciting and beautifully presented and delicious meals I've ever had. What a terrible, terrible shame they failed my test.
I've now eaten moose at 2 restaurants in a row, so I'm beginning to accept that they are not mythical creatures, and even that they're pretty tasty. So my next goal is to try and catch sight of one in its natural setting, as opposed to in a ragout. So my researcher Julia has set me up with a moose whisperer.
And what am I looking for?
Well, for a really large animal, they can be very invisible. So you look for a dark shape that's sort of in the woods.
Is it like a deer?
Well, they are a species of deer. They're the largest
But have
species
they really got the big nosy, mouthy thing?
Big nose, long legs, big, large bodies.
Sounds like someone I know.
It's going to be a long drive home if there aren't any moose for you. What about there?
It's a moose.
Just looks like a sort of kangaroo, camel, cow. Look at that. That is majestic. It doesn't have the antlers.
That's the female.
Oh, you're an expert on moose now. Well done. Well done.
Are you pleased?
It's kind of amazing. It's like an animal from the beginning of time. Do you think I can get some of that tree? That's looking, it's fresh, it's vibrant. There's not a lot growing at this time of year. I've not had a lot of vegetables on this trip. I bet he's getting piney flavors, a little undercurrent of wood. That looks like a tasty, tasty thing. Any more restaurants in around here we could get something like that? That moose is even better than I do.
With my live moose curiosity satisfied, it's time to head back to civilization.
Well, that was amazing. You're the best.
I know.
You sorted it out. You found me a moose.
Yeah, don't say I never did anything for you.
What have we got next?
Okay, so the next restaurant you're going to is called The Reluctant Chef.
The Reluctant Chef. The Reluctant Chef.
They just offer a 5-course tasting menu.
A 5-course tasting menu.
That's right. It's a tiny 34-seat restaurant located on Duckworth Street in St. John's. Tony Butt opened it in 2012, despite the fact that he had no desire whatsoever to be a restaurateur.
I never wanted to own a restaurant. It's hell running a small restaurant by yourself because you got to do everything.
And that's exactly why Tony needs your review. After years of doing everything himself, he's finally hired a fancy chef and sommelier, but they cost a lot of money.
So now I need to keep those guys. So I need to find that income, and I need to fill the restaurant 5 nights a week. I need to expand my seating. I want to go from 34 seats to 90 seats. St. John's out in the middle of the Atlantic. You really got to work to get people into your restaurant. And I mean, a review from Giles would go a long ways to make that happen.
To help me better understand my surroundings, I like to eat with someone local in every city I visit. My guest tonight is Sabrina Wyatt. She owns a commercial crab fishing operation, and she's also a country music star.
I crab fish in the summer and I'm a country music singer in the winter.
I may be wrong, but that strikes me as an only in Newfoundland combination of careers.
So what we do here, it is a chef set 5-course dinner. Is there anything that you could think of you're averse to, you really don't enjoy, or you're uncomfortable eating?
Just 5-course menus? What about 2?
2 courses?
No, they're really tiny. He wants to taste them, at least 4.
This is unbelievable. A bargaining session has broken out over the number of courses in my tasting menu.
Is there a way of getting it down to 3?
We could maybe do that. Sounds good?
Things are looking up, and huzzah! Our first course promptly arrives.
We have wild Newfoundland chanterelle mushrooms that we've pickled with some rosemary honey as an accent flavor. Now, in the pickling process, of course, vinegar is the natural enemy to all wines. It usually makes them taste.
Mushroom pickling, accent flavors. I couldn't care less. I'm with a guest. Shut up, go away. From now on, the reluctant chef is going to have to let its food do the talking if it wants a chance of my $1 million review. This week I'm in St. John's, Newfoundland, eating my way through 5 restaurants hoping to earn my $1 million review. And tonight I'm dining at the Reluctant Chef with country singer and fisherman Sabrina Wyatt, whose charming company will be getting me through yet another tasting menu.
With every course, shall I tell you something I hate about tasting menus?
I also hate talkative waiters interrupting my dinner guest.
Pardon my interruption there.
In a misguided attempt to impress me.
Now, in the pickling process, of course, vinegar is the natural enemy to all wines.
Don't talk my ear off. I'm here to eat, not listen to you.
I don't give a damn how he pickles his mushrooms, and I don't care what wine he's chosen. I'm here talking to you, so just bring me my food and go away. How do you like this?
I like it. How did you like it?
I wouldn't have bothered with it. It's a sort of tea time snack.
You see, this is why I don't like tasting menus. To me, that was a totally superfluous course.
You have cold poached cod.
The cold cod better be delicious, or this place won't be getting my $1 million review.
What's a fisherman's perspective on the fish?
Well, in my 40 years, this is the first time I've ever had cold cod.
There's absolutely no benefit to serving it cold, is there?
My father would die if my mother served him cold fish.
I have a 3-year-old daughter, and she likes fish, but if I gave her some cold cod, she'd wee on the floor and run off and cry and eat chocolate mousse, which is basically what I feel like doing.
Luckily for the reluctant chef, my guest doesn't hate her cold fish.
I like it. I like the apple with it.
It's served cold because it's easier for the kitchen, because he wants to cook us 7 courses. I would rather he didn't bother with all the courses and gave me hot fish.
Time for the final dish in our 3-course tasting menu.
So marrow bone, there must be bone marrow in there.
Absolutely. We have fries, dressing, and gravy made with mousse bordelaise sauce.
Oh.
Yeah. Warm. Yeah, this is good. Have you ever killed a moose?
Yes.
So how many moose have you killed?
Well, I've had a license every year for...
You're dodging the question. How many moose have you killed?
A dozen.
Oh my God, I'm dining with a serial moose murderer.
You killed 12 moose.
I don't know, I
But that's like a whole herd. And what do you kill them just for the antlers for the wood, or do you?
No, for food.
I just feel sentimental about moose. You know, they're such pretty things. Met one today.
I know you're eating one.
Seems like it went well. Seems like you enjoyed the food. The food was pretty unique.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for coming.
Let's see what happens.
Well, that turned out very differently from how I expected. You know, I was in quite a bad mood. I just fed up with tasting menus. I didn't want to sit there all night. Sabrina was just such fun that it just turned around, and by the third course, I was really, really happy with that place. Definite contender.
After a few too many drinks last night with Sabrina, I'm once again feeling woozy in Newfoundland. So Julia has booked me into a local barber's to freshen me up. And she's bringing me a local hangover cure to prepare me for my next restaurant.
What on earth have you got there?
Goodies for you. Some scrunchions and cod. You know what a scrunchion is?
No, what is it, some kind of terrible sea animal?
It is pan-fried pork fat. This is traditional Newfoundland fare. Big bite?
While I'm being shaved?
Oh my God, just eat it.
Mmm. That is all right. So where are we going today?
Bacalao.
Uh-huh, bacalao. And do they allow people in with hairy necks, or is this why I'm having a shave?
Ugh, we're not letting you go anywhere until that's all gone.
Bacalao is in a cozy house on Le Marchand Road, just outside downtown St. John's. It was opened in 2007 by Andrea Monder, and it was one of the first restaurants in town to elevate Newfoundland cuisine to the level of modern fine dining.
In the beginning, we really blazed the trail because those networks really weren't in place.
But over the last decade, Newfoundland's economy has boomed. Now there are more restaurants following the trend that Andrea helped pioneer, and Bacalao is suffering.
You hear about restaurants that you have a waiting list to get in. Well, we're nowhere near that. I'd love to be busy, you know, as we say in Newfoundland, stogged for lunch, brunch, and dinner every day of the week.
Andrea needs your review to bring Bacalao back to its former glory.
A review from Giles would be awesome. I'd love for this to be my legacy. I've got two little nieces who are 6 and 7, who I would love to see taking over the business.
Good job.
For me, it's, you know, it's critical that this stays open, that we remain successful.
Hi there, how are you?
Come on in.
There you are.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That, in case you need telling, is me in my underpants with some warm boots, taking a photograph of myself in my hotel room on my phone. My plan was to text it to my wife, but I tweeted it. I hope nobody had seen.
How was I to know these guys follow me on Twitter?
Feel at home. I'm Andrea, I'm the owner.
Hello, and you're therefore probably responsible for this pornographic photograph of me.
Well, if you tweet it out, then we print it.
I'm all for friendly service, but there's such a thing as too friendly.
So this is our full menu, but we've worked up a little something special for you.
So am I getting a sort of tasting menu?
Yes.
Does every restaurant in Newfoundland have a tasting menu, or am I being pranked?
If I had a friend visiting from away, then I would want them to have all of these dishes.
I'm not your friend. I'm a restaurant critic. I'm an evil, evil man.
3 courses, that's all they get.
Waste no time.
All right, well, we'll start feeding you.
Lovely looking restaurant there. One of my favourite kinds of restaurants you get is a converted townhouse. We're obviously sitting in what was once upon a time somebody's front room. They're doing okay business. There are people in the dining room behind me, but there are empty rooms all around.
This is your first course. It's the tongue and cake. Plated with some local beets and potato.
What are those?
Potato.
Potato. Ah,
Yeah.
Exotic and unfamiliar. Sorry, I didn't know. And these are?
Those are the tongues.
Those are the tongues.
All right, bon appetit.
Thank you very much. It's very 90s. It's a long rectangular plate, no longer fashionable. It's got lots of brightly coloured things. That's pretty. It smells delicious. So I'll tuck into my first Newfoundland cod's tongue.
Course number 1, not great.
Chewy. They were not. Oh, that's coming back at me.
If courses 2 and 3 are anything like this, Bacalao will not be getting my $1 million review. This week I'm in St. John's, Newfoundland, and today I'm eating at Bacalao, a long-standing restaurant now struggling for business.
Oh, that's coming back at me.
If they're going to contend for my $1 million review, they have 2 courses left to impress me.
This is our bacalao, tagliatelle pasta, and house-cured salt cod on top. And I should mention that's the Fogo Island cod pot cod that we're curing in-house.
Great, looks amazing.
In Portugal, bacalao is salted cod, a dish which this restaurant has named itself after.
That's very salty. It's not undelicious. The pasta's beautiful, the acidity and the sweetness of the tomato cuts the salt and the fat perfectly. But this is great. This is classic, very Basque flavours. Really terrific.
My first dish wasn't good, but the second was fantastic. Bacalao's shot at my $1 million review now depends on my third and final course.
What is that beeping? It's going on and on and on. It's on a door, or it's on a back door, or is it the sound of the food? It sounds like a microwave. It is getting into my brain. It is driving me absolutely wild. My teeth are on edge. It's just absolutely mad. It's the kind of thing they do to people in prison to torture confessions out of them.
Here is a duo of local duck and partridge.
I've now been served the best dish yet. Really good partridge, really good duck, rare, smoky flavours, good spätzle, a kind of Austrian pasta that's buttery and gives it a bit of body. The gravy's really got a real kind of gamey, winey flavour to it. The bacalao, that was fantastic. Within this rolling, monstrous cacophony of flavours and sounds and experiences, I've actually had quite a good meal. The bacalao pasta, followed by the duck. If that's all they brought me, it would have been in with a big shout of the $1 million review. As it stands, I'm not so sure.
Giles' review would mean the world to us. We're here on a rock in the middle of the Atlantic. I really feel like bacalao is an ambassador. I feel like an ambassador for Newfoundland cuisine to the world, so we would love to be the one that Giles reviews.
It's my last day in St. John's, and after a booze-fueled week of fine dining, 5 local restaurants are in the running for my $1 million review. My researcher Julia and I are having breakfast while I mull over my decision.
It's been a good week.
Yeah.
You've done well, my dear.
Thank you.
I'm such an honorary Newfoundlander, I could probably run for office here.
What'd you think of the restaurants?
I thought they were amazing. They're modern, they're eclectic, they're progressive, there's great service, everything about them is wonderful.
All 5 restaurants are in the running for my review. Bacalao, Raymond's, Saltwater, Chinched, and The Reluctant Chef. But only one can win.
I've decided which one it's going to be, but I can't be certain until I've started writing.
Okay, well, I can't wait to see it.
It's time to write my review. There can only be one winner, and my review could change their business by $1 million in extra revenue. My review is written, and today it goes live in the Huffington Post. Whose life will it change? Will it be bacalao? Raymond's? What about Saltwater? Chinched? Or The Reluctant Chef?
They won.
I chose Raymond's because it's one of the best restaurants I've ever eaten in the world.
Yeah, it just kind of legitimizes what we're doing compared to a huge scene like, say, London, you know, where he's kind of used to eating at all these places. So coming from a smaller town, it's kind of cool to see something like that, for sure.
Yeah. I'm proud for the restaurant, but also proud for Newfoundland, too.
When I first thought about coming to St. John's, I thought I'd be eating simply prepared meat, game, and lots of cod. And while the food at Raymond's stays true to its Newfoundland roots, it is world-class in its presentation and taste. This restaurant serves some of the most beautiful and original food I've ever eaten. Chef Jeremy Charles is a culinary superstar in the making, and Raymond's more than deserves my $1 million review.